go into this scene. This is the scene where Rita introduces Mike to the ammo squad, okay? And as we look here, we see the Asian gentleman here. He's holding a basketball, okay? Now, what is the point of him having a basketball at work, okay? This is supposed to be a police precinct, okay? Why do you have a basketball at a police precinct? What is the purpose? You are there to do work, okay? I know they're trying to add an element of immaturity because there's supposed to be, showing the difference in age between Mike Larry and the ammo squad, okay? The new school and the old school type of deal. But the point being is what they're really doing is they're alluding to Kobe Bryant, okay? They're alluding to Kobe Bryant and his daughter, Gigi. We know both played basketball, okay? Okay, here again. Right behind Mr. Mike Larry, you have a basketball hoop. Again, what is the purpose of a basketball hoop being in a police precinct, okay? I know oftentimes, police stations, they may have workout areas where the police, they'll go and they'll work out to stay in shape and things like that. But this basketball hoop is in the vicinity where they actually do their work. Why is it there? Okay, you brothers, you got to think about these things, okay? I know a lot of the stuff I say may seem far-fetched, but they're adding all these little things in there for a reason. It's there for the predictive programming. This movie is secretly about Kobe Bryant and everybody that died in that helicopter crash, okay? Or at least that's my critique, okay? Again, the name of this YouTube channel is King Kaniba Critiques, okay? I look at things from a biblical and a spiritual vantage point, okay? I said in the initial video on this series, you brothers can come to your own conclusions to whether or not I'm on point or maybe I'm reaching, okay? You don't have to take it as a fact, but again, it's my critique. I'm looking at this from a spiritual vantage point, all right? So real quick, I want to shed some light on this, okay? If you watch Bad Boys for Life on Amazon Prime, this is actually a picture of the loading screen, okay? It's a screenshot of the loading screen. And as you can see, the color scheme is purple and gold, okay? Purple and gold are the colors of the NBA team that Kobe Bryant played for, which, of course, is the LA Lakers, okay? Nothing too deep here, but nevertheless, it's still predictive programming to Kobe Bryant or concerning Kobe Bryant and everything that happened on that day, okay? All right, so going forward a little bit, we've reached the point where Mike Larry, along with the ammo squad, they're in the van doing surveillance against this particular gang. And would you look at the name of this gang? It's called the H77 gang. Now, we know the number 7 represents the letter G. So what is this really saying? It's the GG gang. The GG gang. I mean, you cannot make this stuff up. Again, this is more predictive programming. Out of any number they could have used, 77. Okay, and they didn't even say 77. If you look at the movie, it's literally H77 gang. Okay. All right. Now, just to give more clarity to what I'm saying, let's look at this article here. And again, shout out to the Brother Chronicles of Judah 144, because he actually used this piece of evidence in one of his videos on his Patreon channel about Kobe Bryant. And see, that's what this thing is supposed to be about. Iron sharpeneth iron. Okay. He always says in his videos, you're not just supposed to take what he says, for face value, so to speak. We should be looking up everything that he says. So I did the same thing. I did my own research, and lo and behold, I came across this piece of evidence as well. So I'm going to use this as well in my video to give more clarity about what I'm saying about the number 7 and how it relates to Gigi and ultimately this movie, Bad Boys for Life. Okay? All right. So this article reads, the number 7, Gnosis Crown Chakra. G, sometimes used in the Freemasonry square and compass logo, is 7 in numerology. Again, we already touched on that. And 7th letter in the alphabet. See that? G is generally believed to stand for Gnosis. 7 are the chakras in the Kabbalah and in Hinduism and Buddhism. Kabbalah is the foundation of the esoteric knowledge taught in Freemasonry. Therefore, it could be that G equals 7, 7 equals crown, the highest chakra. Okay? All right, so now scrolling down a bit, let's look at the next part of this article, and it reads, the number 77, do what thou wilt, and or divide et impera. Aleister Crowley, who was a 33rd degree Mason and a leading member of the Ordo Templi Orientis, believed multiple 7s had magic properties. In Book 77, Liber Eyes, he outlined the law of the strong, which is do what thou wilt, do what you will, or in other words, do whatever you want. Okay? Just do whatever the hell you want to do. Okay? That is chaotic thinking. Okay? And not only is that chaotic thinking, it's also a Satanist train of thought. All right? So with that being said, unfortunately, what does that say about Kobe Bryant? Again, this is my critique. Okay? You can take it how you want to take it. Okay? This is for you to judge whether or not I'm reaching or maybe I'm on point. But again, I look at things from a spiritual and a biblical vantage point. All right? And not only does this shed light on Kobe Bryant, it also sheds light on the filmmakers of this movie or this movie in general. Okay? All this stuff is scripted, None of this is by happenstance. All right? So going down a little bit more, let's go into the next part of the article. And it reads, Book 77 closes with slaves shall serve. Self-explanatory. And with the usual Delima send out, which is love is the law. Love under will. And some say it means tantric sex, which is important for keeping the chakras filled. Some say it just means casual sex or consensual sex is what it says. All right. All right. So going further into the movie, we have the scene where Marcus and Mike are in the van about to meet up with Carver Remy because Carver Remy has tipped them off about Armando. Okay. And now we have Marcus slowing down at a yellow light and Mike is going to get on him about his driving as usual. But the point being is, look at the street sign. Okay. The cameraman made it a point to zoom in on the street sign at the opening of this scene. And we see what street it is. It's 7th Street. Okay. That's still alluding to the letter G. Okay. For Gigi. More predictive programming. Okay. And not to mention all the information that was just brought out in the last slide about the number 7 and the number 77 and what it means within the craft, within the occultic circles, so to speak. All right. So now we go into this part of the scene where It's a bunch of attractive women all around. And he becomes embarrassed because of the type of vehicle he's in, He's in a Nissan Quest. So Martin is going to yell this out. He rolls down the window and he yells out, "Hey, we got Mike Larry here and a Nissan Quest." Oh, man. And then if you look at this, it's a gold Nissan Quest, okay? And we know when you're dealing with alchemy, the alchemical metal that's associated with the sun is gold, okay? So, again, this is just more sun worship right here. I know it sounds far-fetched, but, it is what it is. So now, let's just for fun, let's go into the gematria and look up the word Nissan, and let's see what it comes out to be. All right. So now we've gone to the gematria and we've typed in the word Nissan to see what it comes out to be. And in English, wow, it comes out to be 76. Ain't that something? We've been seeing this 76 quite a few times too throughout this series. And of course, I've said it a couple of times now. The number 76 represents the Capricorn, okay? The planet Saturn, the Capricorn, okay? The Capricorn, as we know, is the goat. The goat is Pan, okay? Pan is the entity or the pagan deity that's pretty much venerated in the entertainment sphere, okay? Now, if we bring it up to date, the modern day term that most people know him by is the Baphomet. Okay. But here again, using that term Baphomet, people have become so used to it. It's like a trigger. As soon as they hear the name Baphomet, all of a sudden, you a crazy conspiracy theorist. Okay. It's the same way with the word Illuminati. If you brothers, you go out there and you trying to teach somebody, trying to enlighten them on some things, try to steer clear of those two words, Illuminati and the Baphomet. It's best to use more ancient names, the original terms that specific deities and secret societies, so to speak, used to use, and try to, be well informed on what those things represent, the customs of it. So when you go out and you teach people about these things, they can't call you a crazy conspiracy theorist. All right. So now we come to the scene where Carver Remy falls to his death by the hand of Armando, right? Falls right on top of the Nissan Quest. What a shame. But looking at this scene, of course, you have Mike Larry. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe he has on all black. And, the all black, that's for Saturn. Okay. But now what I want to do, I want to take a real close look at what Marcus is wearing. Okay. Of course, he has on the cross for Tammuz. But I want to take a closer look at this Letterman's jacket that he has on. And notice it doesn't have a team logo on it. It's quite curious. Okay. Let's zoom in a bit. All right. Yeah, it really started bugging me. I said to myself, Ganaiba, where have you seen this color scheme before? I know I've seen this color scheme before on some type of sports team's jerseys. I knew I'd seen it before. Then it dawned on me. And here it is. Okay, so am I still crazy? Okay, am I still reaching? Okay. Oh boy. If you sit there and tell me this is a coincidence, I don't know what to tell you. Okay. Let's get a side by side. All right. This is the same color scheme, and this is not a incidents. Okay. You see, this is Kobe Bryant's high school jersey. Okay. He wore number 33. Again, 33 represents sacrifice. And you see, like I said earlier, all these athletes and entertainers, well, I'm not even going to say all of them, but a good portion of them, their lives are scripted from birth. Okay? Kobe Bryant knew that that day would come where he would have to be sacrificed. Okay? He knew. All right? And again, look at the side by side, look at the color scheme. They purposely put this in this movie. Okay? It's for predictive programming. All right? All right, so the scene goes on and Marcus becomes distraught. And he starts saying, this is a sign. This is a sign from God. Oh, boy. And let's take a look at something, because this is actually low-key mother goddess worship. Okay? Because after he says that, who does he get a phone call from? Let's take a look. He gets a call from his wife, Teresa, or Mother Teresa. Could that be what they're trying to allude to? Who knows? But I won't go down that road. The point being is he said this is a sign from God, of course. And then right after that, he gets a call from his wife. Okay? Then after he got that call, what did he say? He said, and I quote, "She knows. She always knows." Again, alluding to her being a goddess figure, all-knowing, okay? Not to get too far off topic, that's why on your phone, if you want to know anything, who do you ask? You ask Siri, okay? That's an allusion to the Roman goddess Ceres, okay? Because, again, that's supposed to be like it's a play on words, okay? She's a mother goddess figure, this Siri. She's all-knowing. You want to know anything, you ask Siri. That is alluding to the Roman goddess Ceres, okay? Ceres was the goddess of agriculture. She was the goddess of grain, cereal. That's actually where you get the term cereal from, all right? So continuing on in the scene, you have Armando trying to flee the scene, okay? He had just had a scuffle with Mike, and now you got Marcus, who here we see is clearly a stunt double. But we see Marcus is trying to catch up with him and stop him. Of course, he's going to fail at doing that. Armando is going to get away, but let's look at Armando's dress code. He's dressed in the all black for Saturn, of course. But let's take a close look at the back of his leather jacket. You have what's clearly two serpents. Okay. I told y'all before, serpents are going to be a theme throughout this movie. Okay. It's alluding to Kobe Bryant. Kobe Bryant was the black Mamba. Okay, the serpent also represents wisdom, the divine teacher. Okay, Kobe had reached a point where he had become the person that, younger NBA players would look to for wisdom and advice on how to elevate their game. Okay, he became a divine teacher archetype, so to speak. There was a point in time where Kobe was coming out with all these different children books. Okay. Because what you got to understand, Kobe Bryant's job, and not just Kobe Bryant per se, but entertainers at large, their job is to spread Luciferian ideologies, okay? They'll use your favorite entertainers to spread these different ideologies that they want you to adhere to, different Luciferian ideologies. If you take it to the music industry, all these songs is just spell casting. Okay. They'll use your different musicians, musical artists to spread these Luciferian ideologies in their songs. Okay. By now, most of us should be familiar with Jay-Z's song from back in 2009, I believe, Run This Town. The song he had with Rihanna and Kanye West. Okay. And when you listen to that song, it's clear what the agenda is. Okay. It's alluding to a new world order. Okay. That's what that was about. And not just that song, but, you know, the vast majority of these songs, there's something behind it that they're trying to push on the masses. All right. So moving forward a bit, we have this scene where Isabel is on the phone with her son, Armando. Okay. And let's take a look at the scene. Isabel has on the red dress. Okay. That's for the so-called mother goddess Sekhmet. Okay. Sekhmet is the lady in red. When you look at depictions of Sekhmet, she's always depicted wearing a red dress. Okay. So Isabel is wearing the red dress for the lady in red, Sekhmet. Then if we look to the right of the screenshot, you have the statue also looks like it could be wearing a red dress as well. Okay. Because really Isabel and the statue is supposed to be one and the same. Okay. In the movie, you know, Isabel is referred to as La Bruja, the witch. Okay. Now, this particular statue is a statue of the deity that they adhere to, known as the Santa Muerte. Okay. And look at how the cameraman filmed this shot. I told you before, the cameraman does this on purpose. Okay. The scene is filmed to the point where it looks like a sunlight is illuminating on the statue, the Santa Muerte. Okay. Because all the Santa Muerte is another variation of the mother goddess. Okay. So now let's go ahead and get some more information on the Santa Muerte. All right. All right. So this is a Wikipedia search on the Santa Muerte, and it reads Nuestra Señora de la Santa Muerte. And it goes on to say Spanish for Our Lady of the Holy Death. Hey, you know what? Going back in this series, what was the name of the church that Kobe Bryant left right before the helicopter crash? It was Our Lady of Angels Catholic Church, if my memory serves me correctly, right? That's interesting. But anyway, the article goes on to say, often shortened to Santa Muerte, is a cult image female deity, or aka a mother goddess, and folk saint in Mexican neo-paganism and folk Catholicism. A personification of death. Again, what have I been saying throughout this series? That this movie, Bad Boys for Life, is an illusion or predictive programming to the death of Kobe Bryant, his daughter Gigi, and everybody else that was on the helicopter on that day. All right. The article goes on to say she is associated with healing, protection, and safe delivery to the afterlife by her devotees. And again, you know, it's the same thing as Catholicism. Okay? Yeah, they worship the same thing. All right? If you were to ask somebody that's an actual Catholic, they would probably classify this as folk Catholicism. And folk Catholicism, in a nutshell, is just pretty much an ethnic group's own twist on Catholicism as opposed to traditional Catholicism. But the point being is they both worship the same thing, which is the mother goddess. Okay. You know, you got people who practice traditional Catholicism. They try to demonize this version of Catholicism dealing with the Santa Muerte. But in actuality, you know, I don't understand why they're trying to condemn it. they they worship the same thing. Okay, it's mother goddess worship. All right. Okay, so going down a bit, let's look at this. Look at the animal that's associated with the Santa Muerte. It's the owl. Now we know the owl is associated with the Roman goddess Minerva. Okay? It's known as the Owl of Minerva or the Owl of Athena because in Greece, Minerva was actually known as Athena. Okay? But the point being is this lets us know that the Santa Muerte is a mother goddess figure, okay? It's another variation of Minerva or Athena, so to speak, okay? Because the owl, the reason the owl is associated with these goddess figures is because the owl represents wisdom. The owl is an animal that can see extremely well in the dark, okay? If people are in the dark per se, that means that they are not in the knowledge, okay? They're not knowledgeable of something. They lack wisdom. You're in the dark, okay? So the owl, being that they can see well in the dark, represents somebody that has wisdom. You can see things that other people cannot see, okay? And there's actually a scene in this movie where they show the statue of the Santa Muerte. And if you look at the bottom of the statue, there's actually an owl there. I'm hoping I actually took a screenshot of that particular scene. If not, I'll try to get it. But if you brothers go back and watch the movie, pay attention to that. You'll see the owl right there at the bottom of the statue of the Santa Muerte. All right. All right, so let's do a little more investigation on the goddess Minerva before we continue on with the article on the Santa Muerte, okay? So this is a Wikipedia search on the Roman goddess Minerva, and it reads, she was the virgin goddess of music, poetry, medicine, wisdom, commerce, weaving, and the crafts. Now, if you look at some of the attributes of the Santa Muerte, she's associated with healing or medicine, as well as wealth or commerce, okay? The article goes on to say she is often depicted with her sacred creature, an owl, usually named as the Owl of Minerva, which symbolized her association with wisdom and knowledge, as well as, less frequently, the snake and the olive tree. Now we should be bringing it on home right now as to why the Santa Muerte had to be in this movie, okay? The Santa Muerte has a lot of the same attributes as the goddess Minerva, okay? And when you look at Minerva, one of the symbols that's less frequently used for her is the snake, okay? We know Kobe Bryant, again, is the black Mamba, okay? All of this is not a coincidence, okay? This was on purpose, all right? So now I think we should go back to the article on the Santa Muerte, all right? All right, so going down to this part of the article on the Santa Muerte, it reads, Santa Muerte can be translated into English as either Saint Death or Holy Death, although the professor of religious studies, R. Andrew Chestnut, believes that the former is a more accurate translation because it better reveals her identity as a folk saint. All right, I want to stop right here, and I want to take a closer look at this individual right here, this professor of religious studies, Mr. R. Andrew Chestnut. Okay, let's get into it. All right, so let's take a look at this article that I found, and it reads, New Bad Boys film taps expertise of VCU's Santa Muerte scholar. Okay, going down a bit, and it reads, Bad Boys for Life, the new Will Smith and Martin Lawrence action comedy that opens today, tapped the expertise of Virginia Commonwealth University's Professor Andrew Chestnut, PhD, an internationally recognized expert of Latin American religious history and leading scholar on the Mexican folk saint Santa Muerte. Okay, going down a bit more, and it says, Chestnut, the Bishop Walter F. Sullivan Chair of Catholic Studies in the School of World Studies in the College of Humanities and Science, was asked to provide the film production with his insight into Santa Muerte to ensure that the folk saint personifying death would be portrayed accurately. Again, the aspect of the Santa Muerte that the movie focused on was the death aspect, okay? Because remember, the Santa Muerte, there's a lot of different things that she represents, okay? She represents, of course, health. She represents wealth. She represents protection, okay? And things like that, along with a lot of other things. But the focal point was death. Now, some will argue, and they'd be right, that it's focusing on death because Isabel wanted to pretty much kill everybody that was involved in the case against her late husband. And you'd be correct, but on a two-dimensional level. But when you're looking at this from a three-dimensional perspective, if you're looking at this from a spiritual vantage point, you know that the movie focused on the death aspect of the Santa Muerte because of Kobe Bryant and everybody that was on the helicopter with him, okay? The article goes on to say, what was the experience of consulting on the movie like that? What were they most interested in about Santa Muerte, and what did you convey to them? Okay, let's scroll down a bit. And it reads, I was thrilled that the production company run by Will Smith's brother-in-law, that's interesting, something to look into, anyway, contacted me for consulting on the portrayal of Santa Muerte. He told me that Mexican actress Kate del Castillo, which of course is Isabel, who plays a narco witch devoted to the Mexican skeleton saint, had insisted that the script be changed from featuring the Cuban religion of Palo Mayombe to Santa Muerte. Since part of the film takes place in Mexico City, it would make more sense to feature Mexico's most popular folk saint instead of a Cuban spiritual practice. Then it goes on to say, since Del Castillo has starred in several narco dramas, such as La Reina del Sur, and is quite familiar with Santa Muerte, she insisted that the portrayal of the Saint of Death be accurate. So it seems to me, now I could be wrong, but from this second paragraph that that Kate has played in similar roles. And again, a lot of times these female actresses, a lot of them are practicing witches in real life, okay? You know, you don't have to take it for a fact, me saying this, but, you know, if I were a betting man, you know, Miss Kate Castillo, Del Castillo, You know, she might be a practicing witch herself in real life. Who knows? But anyway, I think that's the most important stuff in this article. And I just thought it was interesting how they got in touch with this particular individual to help them with the altars and the death aspect about the Santa Muerte. Okay?